Well, it's great to catch up with you, Charlie. After all these many years we've known each other. My 40th birthday, I was handed a brew at 5 to midnight to celebrate my birthday, my loader. As he handed my cup of tea to me, out from the turret, airburst munitions went off above our heads. We dropped inside the turret, panicked for a couple of minutes, checked our bodies were okay, and then it was business as usual. However, 40th birthday being bombed in Iraq was predominantly something I would never forget.
I bet.
That's enough about me then, Charlie. So what about your career? Moreover, what about your highlights of the career?
Oh, crikey. So, career. Went to Sandhurst, commissioned from Sandhurst, second lieutenant, into the 3rd and 18th Royal Hussars, which was a medium reconnaissance regiment. I commanded a troop. And I sort of went through the rest of my early part of my career through the 3rd and 18th Royal Hussars, different roles and jobs. We then formed the Light Dragoons, and I was a squadron leader in the Light Dragoons. And then the second part of my career was very much working in media operations and influence. So I had, I was a spokesman and chief media ops in Iraq, a couple of tours, same in Afghanistan. Then there were operations in Libya, Lebanon, and then sort of finishing off with the Olympics. But I think actually the real highlight was working with you, Dave, on the pandemic. With you, Colonel Bennington, and that small team from Landmark. You know, we worked every day throughout the pandemic supporting what the government wanted, whether it's Nightingale hospitals, isolation facilities, the works. That was a lot of fun.
That was a pretty intense period.
It was.
6 months without a break. Fantastic time.
Okay, so when did you leave the army and what did you do when you came into DIO?
Okay, so I left in 2003 and became a bursar at a British school just down the road from here. Did that for about 5 years or so. Then I moved on and became the facilities manager for the co-op distribution centres across the UK. Finally, this job came up, this job we're now, the Senior Assurance and Logistic Manager for UK DTE. Those skills from being in the military, the civilian logistics skills that I learned whilst in different employment, transpose directly to being the staff quartermaster for UK DTE, understanding the military, how it demands its stuff, how it requires stuff, and the resupply and the budgeting thereafter. So what's your job, Charlie? And what skills and experience do you think you brought into this job from the military? So
I came into DIO as the SO1 UK Defence Training Estate. It was a new role. I was in there for about 6-7 years, and then I moved across into the plans job, and covering things wider than just the UK DTE. And I suppose that the skills that I found that I've brought with me, which I've used, are first of all collaboration. Throughout my career, I've had to collaborate with people from different countries, different backgrounds, different parts of the country, different ethnicity. And that's been really, really useful working with our industry partner. I think secondly, it's the crisis and issues management. We've had a number of issues which I've helped to manage during my time here. Planning is a key bit of any officer's career, and I've been able to help with quite a lot of planning activities here. And I suppose being able to see the bigger picture, and that sounds, a bit trite, but it's being able to understand the impact of things which are happening above us, wider to us, and what it's going to impact on the way we're doing things, and vice versa, what we're doing and how that's going to impact on things which are slightly wider. So Dave, when you left the army, what was it like?
Well, I left after a 34-year career, and I entered the military package, which allows you to resettlement package, where you get an amount of money, an amount of time allotted to you to plan your own career. I was quite fortunate I had considered my future, and I had somewhere to live, housing, I had a job, although I planned what I wanted to, so my resettlement courses were geared around schools business management. But leaving, if you have not got housing, job, and indeed your family sorted, you can be in a bit of a pickle. Fortunately, I was in that position where I'd planned ahead, but I still felt alone whilst I was leaving. You're giving guidance and advice from your resettlement officer, but ultimately it's down to you to make your decisions. And from being in your family group, being almost cast out, get on with it, is very, very unnerving. How about you? What did you feel when you sort of had to leave the military?
So I left on redundancy after 2012 Olympics and went up to Aberdeen, worked in the offshore oil and gas industry. And to be brutally frank with you, I became very, very depressed. And looking back on it, it was because my family is down in South England, so I was weekly commuting. I had no friends in Aberdeen. I didn't know anybody up there. The people I worked for had absolutely no interest in my military career, my experience, of anything of that nature. And I didn't have a military family. I'd spent my whole life surrounded by military people. Whether you work, you socialise, you play sport, you're there. And all of a sudden I was up there with none of it. And I found life really, really difficult. But fortunately I moved and I went to Serco, which is very supportive of veterans. That said, I got redundancy after a year. Unfortunately, picked up this job in DIO. But throughout that whole period of time, my wife and family have been going on about me. Oh, you've got to go and see someone. You've got to get some help and so on. And I was going, what help? You know, I'm fine. But I didn't understand the impact my behaviour was having on them. In the end, saw a doctor here who recommended that I go to the Defence Centre for Mental Health. So I went to see them and had 6 months with a psychiatrist who gave me essentially a toolbox of tricks, things for me to delve into when I was finding life a bit difficult. But one of the key things he explained to me was that I need to talk about my experience, you know, my career, what I've done, the operations, all the good things and the bad things, because if you keep it inside yourself, all it does is eat away at you. And that's what was happening. So I needed to open up. And I think I found that really helpful.
That's really interesting. So in a nutshell, what do you think it is to be a veteran?
Pride that I served. I'm proud of what I've done, where I've been, proud of the people I commanded, I helped. And I suppose in DIO, things like the DIO, you know, the Giving Back, the Veterans Foundation, Op Nightingale, all of these sort of things are relatively new, but they are really important for veterans because it gets veterans into meeting with other veterans, and it gives you that little bit of that family back around you. I think that's really important. Thanks, Dave.
Pleasure.